tension, the drama, the vegetables. It was a lot to take. Oh, hey! Hi, it's me, Wilma Fingerdoo, with the Fingerdoo review of RuPaul's Drag Race Season 11, Episode 7. And all I have to say is, Jorge, drink me! Ooh, look at this, all green and gorgeous for this week's Farm to Runway theme. This is Veggies Mary. It's like a Bloody Mary, but it's with veggies. Seems simple enough. Got the recipe down below. I've also got a link to my Patreon page where you can see the tutorial on how to make this. Super easy, though, just let me say. So you can mix along on Patreon or just check out the recipe on the bottom. This veggie juice has a bit of fruit juice in it, so it's spinach and kale and celery and carrots with a bit of apple and a bit of pineapple. And then my vodka was pear vodka by Grey Goose. Oh, it's so good. I should drink my salads more often, I'm just saying. Okay, so let's get to it. This week we said goodbye to Scarlett. God bless her. I miss her already. What can I say? And the other girls seem to be sorry to see her go, except for Raja, who just got crusty right away. Apparently, she just couldn't take Scarlett calling her out as somebody to go home. I am so sick and tired of these queens that take everything seriously on RuPaul's Drag Race. Everything is a challenge. Everything is a challenge. Even when Ru asks your opinion, that's a challenge. She wants to hear what you say. She wants to have, she's going to hear what all the girls have to say. And I just don't understand why she takes it personally. Raja say, well, Scarlett's had enough mirror time. And I just got sick of listening to it. You know, the only person that I thought survived well this week was Shug in that helmet. That clearly was keeping her from hearing anything that was going on. I'm just saying. Seriously. What I thought was the most telling about Raja was how she was all kissy-face with Nina and Vanjie and whoever else she was dissing in the confessional. I mean, clearly, this is somebody who's going to make the reunion episode very interesting. I'm just saying. The next day in the workroom, Ru showed up with this week's mini challenge. She was taking the queens to the races, the potato sack races. But it wasn't about who won. It was about slow motion jugs, a jiggling boobography with a little hairography from Britney thrown in for good measure. It's very exciting, I'm just saying. So with falsies and whatever God gave them, the girls got into quick drag and assumed the position. And it was a tight race, said nobody. Those jugs were loosey-goosey. They were all over the place, which explains why Shug fell. But she took it like a champ, keeping her boobs a-bouncing, whipping her hair back and forth. Nina was another one that I thought was hilarious. First of all, that face she painted on her was lovely. I can't believe, I didn't recognize her at first. I didn't know who that was at first. I was like, well, who's that? Oh, of course, it's Nina. She looked gorgeous. I know, with her boobs bouncing and her hair whipping back. And then that one titty made a break for it, just jumped out of her top. And there it was. And she looked at it. And it looked back at her. And you knew for a minute it was touch and go. Anyone was going to win. But when it was all said and done, once the boobs stopped jiggling, the winners were announced. And it was Shug and Nina. See, this wasn't about having the biggest boobs. Sorry about it, Taki. Although she did some great work with them, I won't lie. And then it was time for this week's main runway, from farm to runway. That was the theme. The girls had to take natural, found in nature kind of objects and create couture out of them. Didn't they just do that on Project Runway? Am I having a stroke? I like to know these things. Back in the workroom, the queens got to work. And Shug had lunch. Trust a skinny bitch to go crazy over vegetables. I'm just saying. Over these vegetables. Yeah. Vanjie was shaking in her boots over what she was going to make this week, especially after her runway last week. I'm so serious. So she took Evie aside and made her put her opinions where her mouth is. She thinks that Vangie's repeating looks. Well, then how would you go about changing that? Is what Vanjie said, and Evie helped her. And this is what it's all about. This is a queen who wants to win. Vanjie isn't just sitting there showing up with whatever's in her suitcases. She's actually making an effort. And let's just hope that's the end of the bathing suits. Seriously. Good for you, Vanj. Try harder, baby. Ru popped by the workroom to check on everyone's progress, but it got very emotional very quickly. First up, Brooklyn got misty telling Ru about how guarded she's been since she was a child, keeping her emotions to herself, and how emotions kind of threaten her, scare her, make her crazy. I mean, I certainly understand that, but it was very hard to see Brooklyn share that. And then it got worse with Plastique, God bless her. Her face contorting as you could see her life flashing behind her eyes and her reaction to things. And you can tell there's some deep issues and wide sadness in this poor little thing's life. And I just need to say this. God bless gay kids at all anyway, but there should be a special extra prayer for the Asian gay kids, because they just seem to have it worse. Somehow or another, they just have a whole other set of hurdles to get themselves over when it comes to family and coming out. And God bless Plastique. And I have to say, I thought it was a very touching, emotional moment that was ruined almost by that first hug that Ru gave Plastique, because it was very awkward. Let's not lie. But they seemed to have everything figured out by that second hug, which seemed a little more genuine and committed. Just saying. Maybe I'm jaded. Maybe I haven't had enough veggies. All I can say is thank God Raja was there to poo all over that tender moment before we all got diabetes, I'm just saying. But before another tear could be shed, it was off to the runway for their rehearsals with the one and only Alyssa Edwards. Good grief, and God almighty, I love her so much. And she's Plastique Tiara's drag mom. Seriously. Good for Plastique. God, Alyssa Edwards is fabulous, eh? Seriously. There was nothing that she told those queens that didn't help them. She slowed Vanjie down. She got some extra personality out of Brooklyn Heights. And she even got all up in Taki's ganache, which I don't know what that means either. Then Evie took to the stage, twisted ankle and all, to show off in Taki's face. Send her home because she's injured. But I have to say, in defense of Taki, I would have picked Evie. If I had to pick somebody to go home instead of me, I would have picked the injured person too. I think it would just make sense. Somebody's injured, they go home. I mean, seriously, Evie better watch it because her jury's still out, but they sent Eureka home for the same thing. Just saying. Either way, I think Evie's taking things way too seriously. Somebody else who's taking things seriously is Raja, but I totally understand. If I had come back into the workroom and seen that everyone had taken my accoutrement and started gluing it on their outfits, I would have been a little upset too. But I have to say, Raja surprised me. She kept it together. She, had some side eye and some sharp words, but she just was like, no, fine, take it. I will do something else. But I knew she was mad because only a mad person would want to make burlap pants. So it was off to the runway for a good old-fashioned hoedown. And I'm not talking about Scarlet Envy, I'm just saying. I have to say, first of all, Evie playing that fiddle on that bale of hay, she looked like a Muppet of herself. It was hilarious. And, in my opinion, the funniest thing about that whole hoedown, I'm not even sure why they did it. But did it, they did. And I have to say, there were a couple of girls that did kind of get lost in translation. And there were a couple of girls that stood out. So I guess it gave the judges something to consider. I'm going to consider having another sip of this. Then the queens brought the farm to the runway. First up, Shug, and I hated her hair. I hated her hair. I hate this hair. I didn't like it when the princess did that hair. This hair, blown hair never looks good. It needs to be structured on wires. It needs to be and it needs to go out further. that and the makeup that Shug did, it wasn't awful, but it distracted me from the outfit she wore, which wasn't that bad. I mean, of the outfits that week, it wasn't the worst. I'm so serious. I love Taki's outfit. I was very impressed with it. All those little red and white beans and candy all glued to it. I thought it looked great. Plus, you know, I'm a whore for a little hat. I also loved Evie's look. I thought her face was a little aggressive. I would have liked to have seen a softer makeup on her with all of those strong colors going on. But she looked fantastic. I love a little finger wave wig, too. Good for Evie, seriously. I loved Nina West's outfit from the waist up. From the waist up, it was gorgeous. Even that purple wig, when you saw it up close, it wasn't cut precision. But I liked the purple wig. I liked the look of the thing. But she ran out of corn husks or something. I agree. It looked like a weird pant at the bottom. It should have just kept going out. Just more and more and more. But still, corn husks are hard to work with. They're so dry and crumbly. I'm just saying. I also want to say I'm so glad that the judges talked to Nina about her makeup. Just, you know, warming it up and softening the blend down and things like that. Because that makeup that she had on for Quick Drag was gorgeous. I mean, not gorgeous. I mean, it was 20 minutes gorgeous. I'd like to see her do a full face in the proper amount of time, more like that. More like her Quick Drag. See it as like two different people. Just saying. Brooklyn's denim outfit was the cat's ass. Or more specifically, the Canadian's ass. Either way, yay, Brooklyn. Somebody who I didn't have a problem with was Akira, her outfit. I didn't hate that either. It wasn't the worst thing I saw. I didn't even notice the shoulder pads creeping up on her until someone pointed it out. I just thought it was boring, that's all. You know, denim is denim. She could have glued stuff to it, is all I'm saying. Whatever she was doing with those peacock feathers and that earlier in the workroom looked more interesting to me than what she wore down the runway. I'm just saying. Someone whose look I did like was Veggies. I thought she looked fantastic. That little bikini top with the rope was cute. That skirt was gorgeous, the way it was all tucked and draped. Stunning. The only thing I didn't like was her wig and hat. And I'm a whore for a little hat. It takes a lot for me to hate a hat. But I just didn't, the top part of it just was uninteresting to me. Just saying. Raja's look wasn't bad. In fact, I quite liked it at first, especially her makeup. Her makeup was stunning. I really liked the top half of her outfit. I thought that was great. But this is why we don't make pants out of burlap. It shreds. It's just that kind of fabric that doesn't have any body whatsoever. It's just going to separate and pull apart. This is why it's never been on a couture runway. Just saying. Plastique's corset creation was gorgeous. But I have to agree with Taki. I'm getting sick and tired of seeing her in corsets. She keeps gluing things to corsets. Now, if you're going to glue things to corsets, let's hope you do it like this. This is gorgeous. She looks stunning. I'm not disputing it, but seriously, as nice as she looked, I wish she had done something different. Maybe she should have made burlap pants. And Ru couldn't get enough of it. So much so that she made Plastique this week's winner. It's a first win for Plastique. Here's to you, girl. Seriously. And she won a trip to Toronto. It's where I am right now. Plastique, when you book your trip, give me a call. Give you the tour. Seriously. I do have to say I was awful sorry to see Akira in the bottom two this week, especially after her win last week. I'm so serious. And, of course, it wouldn't be the bottom two of season 11 of RuPaul's Drag Race without Raja. Am I right? I'm just saying, sweet Marie in the ships at sea. And poor Raja. I don't want to say anyone deserves to be in the bottom, but after all that salty talk she was throwing around about Scarlett, Raja was certainly asking for it. I'm just saying. And this was a pretty good lip sync to a point that was very neck and neck until Raja lost her wig again. She's 2 for 3. That's her second time losing a headpiece during a number. And I just have to say, I'm sick of it. Pin that stuff down. This is why she probably doesn't go all full tilt boogie when she's dancing. She knows her wig will go off into the crowd. Just saying. Seriously. So, when the tree bark settled, it was Raja who sashayed away, and something tells me not going to be a lot of girls who are going to shed too many tears over that. I'm sorry to say. So, 8 queens left. Who do you think's the next one to go home? Nina was in the bottom. Again. Shug was safe. Again. These are girls that are going to safe and middle themselves right on out this workroom door, if you ask me. All we can do is tune in next week to see how it all boils down. And then when you're done, you come on back and see me so you and I can compare notes. Now, don't forget to like my video. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. And if you want to support me on Patreon so you can watch my drink tutorials, especially this one, the Veggies Mary, support me on Patreon. I've got all the links down below. Also, I'm selling merchandise. Yes, I am, on redbubble.com. That link is down below too. You can get yourself a travel mug, a phone case, or like Sean did, get yourself that fabulous t-shirt. I have 2 styles.